I'm Dustin with Rocky Mountain ATV EMC, and today I'll be showing you how to install the PDS Heim joint bolt kit from Tusk. The lower shock bearing on this PDS shock is what allows for the rear suspension to pivot and operate smoothly when the bike is in motion. Now, as you can imagine, this single lone shock bearing down here is going to be experiencing a lot of load, a lot of forces when the bike is in action. Now, if we were to combine all of that with dirt, water, sand, or mud getting inside of this bearing, well, it's going to prematurely wear it out. So to help prevent that from happening, the guys over at Tusk have come out with a greasable lower shock bolt for this PDS shock design, which is going to allow us to grease and service the bearing while it's installed on the bike. So today I'll be showing you how to install this kit on a 2015 KTM 300 XCW. Now keep in mind that the same steps that we'll show you here today can also be applied to many of the Husaberg and KTM models that feature the PDS shock design. To do this job, we're just going to need a few basic hand tools. You will want to have some medium strength Loctite, a punch, hammer, grease gun, some rubber gloves, rags, contact cleaner, and some safety glasses. To begin, start by placing the bike on a suitable bike lift stand and lift the bike until the rear wheel is off of the ground. Remove the mud guard. Before removing the lower shock bolt, make sure to check for play in the bearings. You'll want to lift the swing arm slightly and check for play in the bearings. If any play is present, you will want to replace the shock bearings while you're at it. For more information on how to replace the PDS shock bearing, make sure to check out our how-to video, KTM PDS shock bearing replacement. Then remove the lower shock bolt and move shock away from the swing arm mount. When doing this, make sure that the rear tire is supported. Next, we're going to be removing these bushings right here. Now, to do this, we're going to be using a punch and a hammer, or you can use a drift and a hammer. And when you're doing this, you want to be careful to not apply excessive pressure to the bearing. So we're just going to lightly tap these out. Next, we're going to kind of clean the bearing up a little bit. If there's any dirt or debris inside, we're going to take a dry rag and we're going to wipe that out first. And if there's any additional cleaning that you need to do, spray the contact cleaner onto your rag. Next, we're going to be installing our greasable bushings. Now, before we install these, we're going to take just a little bit of grease and grease up the bushing. Then we can insert the bushing into the bearing and make sure that the bushings seat into the bearing and seal. Then repeat the same step for the other side. Next, we're going to apply a small amount of medium strength thread locker to the threads. And then we're going to apply a small amount of grease to the shank of the bolt. Then we can move our shock back into position. Place the shock bolt into our bearing and then we'll thread it in by hand. Next, you will want to torque the lower shock bolt to the bike's specifications. For this bike, we're going to torque this fastener to 59 foot-pounds. Next, we're going to add some grease to the bolt. So we'll take our grease gun here and apply it to the fitting. We're going to add some grease, wipe off any excess grease, reinstall the mud guard. And that's it. Installing the Tusk PDS Heim joint bolt kit will definitely help to extend the life of your bearing. Now, we recommend that you are greasing this at least after every few rides or after every race, again, to help extend the life of your bearing. Now, if you like this video and you want to see more, make sure to hit the like button, then subscribe to our YouTube channel for more product spotlights, how-tos, and top fives. I'm Dustin with Rocky Mountain. Thanks for watching and keep the wrenches turning.